move or who transform from one creature to another. But if you do not have the power to transform from one creature to another, that means you are a very stable person. So interestingly, men are usually perceived and constructed as these creatures that are not creatures, but as these entities that are very, very stable. So when you look at this story, she is Yensali, the wax girl. She is limited and controlled by male authority. First her father and then her husband. The conditions placed on her reflect how patriarchal society is often preserved to protect femininity by confining women within strict boundaries. But this narrative also, very discursively, very indirectly, it points towards female agency. Her desire to see the field represents this longing to step beyond these boundaries and experience the wider world. Though she melts, she does not disappear. She reforms, she returns, and she continues life as a mother who sustains lineage. So in this story, the story transforms perceived feminine fragility into resilience. Beyond these depictions, women and the feminine also appear in the religious cosmologies of several Naga tribes. Among the Angamis and Chakesangs, for instance, there exists the belief that the creator deity is female. In Angami religious belief, Okapenefer of the ancestral religion called Sanas is regarded as a female figure, while among the Chakesang Nagas, the deity Romi of the Erolonu religion is similarly understood as female. This itself is significant because it places feminine power at the very origin of creation and existence, suggesting that the idea of the feminine is not simply embedded within symbols and all, but it is very, very much foundational to this very structure of the Naga universe and the Naga worldview. Today, when you look at the situation, the literary landscape of Nagaland, the tide has changed. When we were living in the times of oral tradition back in the past, it was a very, very male-centric, male-dominated world. In fact, the first book written by the Nagas, by a Naga, was in 1957. It was on our customary law. But today, if you look at the writers that are coming out from Nagaland, in the so-called literary and the written space, it is women who are dominating these fields. We have two publishers, local publishers, both run by women, and there are so many women writers and poets who are taking up space unapologetically, so different from their forefathers. So with this, I just want to thank everyone for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Yanbini and Tamam. First, I would like to thank you for presenting beautifully on Naga tribes. So the most important interesting talk of this session is that Dr. Barbara, who has spoken about the Garo literature, and Yanbini Antan, who has spoke on the important types of Nagaland. So the main interesting thing is that these two different talks about two different systems. One talks about the matrilineal and one talks about the patrilineal structure of the society. So talking about Barbara ma'am's talk, I just want to summarize the presentation. So Dr. Barbara has focused more on the women empowerment in folk literature, focusing on the role of women, especially like the particular Garo literature talks about like how matrilineal social structure is very important in that community. And here I just want to know about one important point you have made, that the youngest daughter of the community inheritance the property rights, right? So what about the elder daughter? I just have a query.
I didn't say youngest.
Yes.
It can be any daughter.
Any daughter.
Yeah. But other daughters also get a fair share, but the one who will be inheriting the mother's house, she will get the lion's share.
Okay. Yeah, so when I was reading about Garo literature, I come to know that the youngest daughter inherits the property rights.
Yeah, sometime back it was youngest, but now it's no longer the case.
Okay, yes. So here again, like the women becomes the powerful characters in the stories which Madam has presented here, and they are the cultural custodian and as well as the one who passes the culture and stories to the coming generation. And here the women of Garo community, they are portrayed as divine roles, certainly. Here when we are talking about particular community, women play a very important role. And talking about Yanbeni ma'am's presentation, ma'am has started discussing about the stories of her community, especially from the Nagaland. And here the difference is that the patriarchal structure, that's very important to understand, though even though women are having the power. And somehow she has described about the different stories of the Nagaland, and especially Sofinu committee, right?
Sofinu is the name of the woman.
Women.
Angami, Ao and Chakistan.
Okay. Okay. So here she has presented very beautifully of different communities of Nagaland, and I just want to add a few observation of the tribal communities. As I am from Banjara community from Karnataka, so I think when we study different tribal communities, the most important thing is that women and nature, these two are very important. And talking about the stories of women of all the communities, it's very important. The platform is very important here because we are narrating our stories. So we are talking about the stories of tribal communities which we belong. For example, when I say I am from Banjara communities, it is important to know about my community, to know about my community's culture and tradition which I come. For example, I born and brought up in Karnataka, and I studied in the city. So I was just far away from my place. So after when I admitted PhD, so my supervisor asked me to work on my community, Lambani community, which is like broader term, we call it as Banjara. So when I asked my supervisor that no, I don't want to work on my community because of the data, because data are not available, we have to collect orally as the community doesn't have the script. So I told him that so it is very difficult to work on the community and getting the data, though I belong to the community, because I have to collect it in Lambani, then I have to translate into Kannada or English. So I told him that so after I complete my PhD, I will work certainly on Lambani community, that is Banjara. So today I am really happy that Sahitya Akademi has given me the space to share my few words, and this is a good platform where on the day of International Women's Day, we are presenting our stories. So here once again I would like to thank the organizer or organizing the one-day symposium on depiction of women in folk literature. So I sincerely thank all the presenter who has presented very thoughtfully on the respective tribes from Nagaland as well as from Garo literature from Meghalaya. So thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. I wanted to present.
No, you can present.
Shall I? Okay. So actually, I wanted to present on like how Banjara women depicted in literature. Folk literature. Just I will take 10 minutes time. Thank you for giving me opportunity to present. So yes. Yeah. So talking about the Banjara community who are spread across regions such as Rajasthan, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Telangana, and even Madhya Pradesh, who are traditionally known as trade and transporters. And we know the history of Banjara, that they have come from, they have migrated from Rajasthan and settled down in all over part of the Karnataka. As I said, I am from Karnataka, but my father is from Maharashtra. So I have the opportunity to know the different culture and tradition of Maharashtra as well as Karnataka community. So here, talking about the Banjara community, the cultural framework, when we talk about the framework of Banjara, women occupy a particularly role and position. Banjara women are widely recognized for their colorful attire adorned with mirror work and embroidery and heavy silver ornaments and vividly patterned textiles. However, beyond this striking visual identity, the attire is very important. It is very colorful as well as very unique also. So maybe you have seen in the movies and all, like how Banjaras have been represented. The depiction of women in Banjara folk literature, highlighting their active role in shaping, sustaining the traditions, and folklore often reflects prevailing patriarchal norms. It simultaneously provides Banjara women with symbolic and performative spaces through which they express agency, negotiate social realities, and contribute to process of cultural continuity and empowerment. So the Banjara, often referred to as Gaur Banjaras, Lambadis, traditionally speak Gorboli, the language that has largely existed in oral form. In the absence of a written script for much of their history, oral narratives, songs, and performative traditions became crucial vehicles for preserving collective memory and transmitting cultural knowledge. Through these oral forms, the community has maintained its historical experiences, social values, and cultural identity across generations. So Banjara settlements, known as tandas, function as important socio-cultural units where customs, traditions, and communal practices are preserved and practiced. Within these spaces, storytelling sessions, ritual singing, performances during festivals, and ceremonies plays significant role in sustaining cultural continuity. These communal activities not only reinforce shared beliefs and traditions, but also strengthen the social bonds within the community. Women occupy a central role in the cultural practice. From an early age, girls learn songs associated with everybody labor, seasonal festivals, and life cycle events such as. Therefore, Banjara oral literature cannot be fully understood without acknowledging the cultural labor of women, whose participation as singers, storytellers, and transmitters of tradition ensures the preservation and continuity of the community's rich folkloric heritage. So here, like how women have been depicted in folk literature. For example, like many traditional societies, Banjara folklore contains narratives that emphasize values such as obedience, loyalty, sacrifice. Stories often portray women as devoted wives who endure hardship in order to support their husbands, maintain familial harmony. Such narratives reinforce patriarchal ideals by highlighting the importance of women's dedication to household responsibilities and family honor. So marriage songs in particular celebrate qualities such as patience, modesty, and unwavering commitment to family values. Through these songs and stories, social expectations surrounding women's roles within marriage and family life are transmitted across generations. In this way, folklore functions as a cultural mechanism through which community norms and gender roles are preserved and reinforced. Motherhood occupies a central symbolic position in Banjara folklore, where the figure of the mother represents care, guidance, and cultural continuity. Through everyday practices such as singing lullabies and narrating simple stories to children, mothers plays a crucial role in transmitting moral values and social norms. These lullabies often incorporates lessons about honesty, bravery, respect, and communal responsibility, thereby functioning as early forms of cultural education. So in this context, the mother is not only a nurturer but also an important educator within the family and the broader community. Her songs and narratives introduce children to the ethical principles, traditions and collective memories that shape Banjara identity. Through these oral forms, cultural knowledge is preserved and passed from generation to next. So talking about folk songs and emotional social expression, work songs. The first one, the most important is work songs, which constitute an important medium through which Banjara women express their emotions, experiences and social realities. Many of these songs are performed during everyday activities such as grinding grain, fetching water or working in the fields. Singing collectively while engaging in daily labor transforms routine tasks into shared cultural practices, strengthening bonds among women within the community. So we have marriage songs. So marriage ceremonies among the Banjara community are elaborate cultural events accompanied by a rich tradition of folk songs. These songs form an essential part of the rituals and the celebrations surrounding weddings, reflecting both the joy, union, and the emotional transitions associated with marriage. Women gather to sing collectively during various stages of the ceremony, making music an integral component of the social and cultural experience of marriage. So by voicing these emotions collectively, women transform what might otherwise remain private grief into a shared communal experience. The act of singing together provides emotional support and solidarity, allowing women to articulate feelings of loss, hope and transition while reinforcing the bonds that unite them within the community. So festival performances. So festivals occupy an important place in Banjara cultural life and are often marked by vibrant music, dance and communal celebrations. During festivals such as Tej, Diwali and Holi, Banjara women gather in groups to sing traditional songs and perform dances that reflect the community's cultural heritage. So songs and dance become very important part of the Banjara communities. Like without song and without dance, the festival is incomplete. So such gatherings, during the festival time, such gatherings also strengthen social bonds among women and reinforce their visibility within the cultural life of the community. So we have embroidery as narrative text. So Banjara embroidery, renowned for its intricate mirror work, vibrant colors and elaborate geometric patterns, which is a craft traditionally practiced by women. So this textile art form holds deep cultural significance within Banjara community as the motifs and design often fertility, protection, prosperity and social identity. Beyond its aesthetic value, embroidery functions as a form of material folklore where cultural narratives and collective memories are visually encoded in fabric. So folklore as space of negotiation and resistance. So although patriarchal norms which influence many aspects of Banjara folklore, these narratives also contain subtle forms of critique and resistance. Several folk songs humorously portray domineering husbands or oppressive in-laws using satire and irony to question rigid social expectations. Through such expressions, women are able to voice their frustrations and negotiate their positions within the community. So collective singing among women further creates a supportive social space where shared experiences, grievances and emotions can be articulated without direct confrontation. So these performances allow women to communicate concerns that might otherwise remain unspoken within the constraints of patriarchal society. In this way, folklore functions as a negotiated cultural domain in which women subtly assert their agency, challenge social norms, and reinterpret their roles within the community. At the same time, several non-governmental organizations working with tribal communities have helped expand markets for Banjara embroidery and handicrafts. By facilitating access to training, cooperative networks, and national and international markets, these initiatives have contributed to the economic empowerment of Banjara women. Such developments highlights the dynamic and evolving nature of folklore, demonstrating how traditional cultural practices can adapt to contemporary contexts while simultaneously fostering social recognition and economic autonomy for women. So I just would like to conclude. So the most importantly, when we have a comparative insights, like when we compared with women from other tribal communities in India, Banjara women exhibit a distinctive cultural visibility through their vibrant attire, expressive dance forms, and rich traditions of folk songs. These cultural practices not only reflect the aesthetic identity of the Banjara community but also highlight the important role women play in preserving and performing cultural traditions. However, similar pattern of negotiation between tradition and individual autonomy can be observed across the folklore of many tribal societies. Women often navigate cultural expectations while simultaneously expressing their voices through songs, stories, and performative traditions. This comparative perspective underscores the broader universality of gender expression within oral literature, where folklore becomes a significant medium for articulating women's experiences, identities, and social positions within their communities. So the depiction of women in Banjara folk literature reveals a complex interplay between tradition and agency. Within these narratives, women are represented in multiple roles as devoted wives, nurturing mothers, clever heroines, and even divine figures. Such portrayal reflects prevailing patriarchal expectations while also highlighting women's resilience, wisdom, and inner strength. So, more significantly, Banjara women are not only merely subjects within folklore, but active participants in its creation and preservation. As singers, storytellers, ritual performers, and skilled artisans of embroidery, they play a vital role in sustaining and transmitting the cultural heritage of their community. Through these expressive forms, women articulate their experiences, negotiate social realities, and maintain collective identity across generations. So, folklore, therefore, functions both as a reflection of established gender norms and as a cultural space through which women can express agency and resilience, recognizing the central role of Banjara oral tradition, which allows us to appropriate their significant contribution to the preservation, continuity, and transformation of cultural narratives within their community. So I would like to thank you because I know that it is already, I have taken so much time. So I requested Suresh Babu sir to give me some, I think I asked him for 10 minutes so I can present my paper, because reading about different tribal community is important, and today I have got a lot of information, and especially from Garo literature, which inspired me, because I have read about Khasi tribal communities where matriarchy is the practice. So this is the second tribal community where I have seen the matrilineal practices. So, and regarding the session, it is important not only to understand our own communities, it is really important to understand the different tribal communities, their stories, their culture, their traditions. Thank you once again.
I express my sincere gratitude to all the participants for the thought-provoking presentations and thoroughly interesting tribal stories. Today's deliberations remind us that women in folk literature are not mere characters, they are carriers of civilization's emotional wisdom. On International Women's Day, we reaffirm that empowerment is not a modern slogan. It has ancient roots in collective memory. Our task is to recognize, reinterpret, and revoice those traditions. May I now request Srimati Lakshmi Kumari Bhagat, Assistant Editor, Sahitya Akademi, to kindly propose the vote of thanks.
आप सभी को मेरा अभिवादन। मैं साहित्य अकादमी की ओर से आप सभी का आभार व्यक्त करती हूँ कि अंतर्राष्ट्रीय महिला दिवस के अवसर पर आयोजित परिसंवाद में लोक साहित्य में नारी चित्रण विषय पर आप सभी ने अपना बहुमूल्य समय देते हुए अपने अपने विचारों को हम सभी के साथ साझा किया। लोक साहित्य लोक जीवन की अभिव्यक्ति है। यह हमारी मूल संस्कृति, सामाजिक परंपराओं और रीति रिवाजों की झांकी प्रस्तुत करता है। लोक साहित्य में नारी पात्र अत्यंत जीवंत और बहुआयामी है। इसमें नारी का चित्रण यथार्थवादी है। उसे प्रेम, त्याग, ममता की प्रतिमूर्ति के साथ ही संघर्षशील और सशक्त रूप में भी चित्रित किया गया है। आपके माध्यम से हमें देश के अलग अलग क्षेत्रों के लोक साहित्य के नारी पात्रों, वहाँ के आदिवासी जनजीवन और वहाँ की परंपराओं को जानने और समझने का अवसर प्राप्त हुआ। इसके लिए हम तहे दिल से आप सभी के शुक्रगुजार हैं। आप सभी को पुनः बहुत बहुत आभार और श्रोताओं का भी बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।